team 48 hours notice so defense team members can allow their experts to possibly observe the testing. That was the final word from the judge on DNA testing, scheduled to start up now in less than 30 minutes. A closed-door hearing involving both sides in response to a defense motion filed yesterday, a defense motion alleging prosecutorial misconduct, and a defense motion that alleges that the prosecution in this case is unnecessarily and illegally using its power of grand jury to gain evidence into O.J. Simpson's case. District Attorney Gil Garcetti has said he is not seeking an indictment against Al Cowlings, but that any evidence in the Cowlings investigation that is generated can be used in any other criminal proceeding. California grand juries do have broad subpoena power to investigate suspected crimes, even if indictments are not being sought. The entire investigation into Al Cowlings is nearly impossible to separate from O.J. Simpson's. Of course, Cowlings was the man who drove the Bronco along the 60-mile infamous police chase on June 17th, the day Simpson surrendered. The issue, experts say, is whether the district attorney's office is surreptitiously looking into the O.J. Simpson case under the guise of an Al Cowlings investigation. Once again, the hearing's scheduled to get underway in 30 minutes, in less than 30 minutes, and the defendant, O.J. Simpson, has arrived. He arrived within the last half hour, as he normally does, in a darkened L.A. County Sheriff's van. He enters the courthouse through a side underground entrance and is escorted up to the 9th floor by 2 deputies, where he changes into his suit and tie. So, once again, that hearing's scheduled to get underway in less than 30 minutes. Once that hearing is completed, both sides come back to court on Monday for a so-called pitches hearing, a hearing in response to a defense motion filed 2 weeks ago seeking access to all police personal records of Detective Mark Furman and 4 other police officers assigned to this case. The city's attorney's office is opposing that motion, saying that the defense team is not entitled to such records. So, to recap, the judge in this case has denied the defense team access to blood evidence and DNA testing. He has ordered the prosecution to continue DNA testing as earlier ordered, and in less than 30 minutes, scheduled to get underway, is a closed-door hearing involving both sides. CNN and other media organizations have petitioned the judge to gain access into that hearing. I presume the judge will take up that matter first before he takes up the arguments on both sides. CNN has crews stationed throughout this courthouse and will bring you any information, any developments, any news inside courtrooms at this courthouse as it becomes available and as it filters down from the floors below. I'm Mark Watts, CNN reporting live in Los Angeles.
Let's get some legal analysis of all this now and call on our CNN analyst and criminal defense attorney, former Los Angeles prosecutor Roger Cossack in Los Angeles. Let's do the last things first, if we could. This closed-door hearing, why is it closed, and what do you expect to happen behind those doors?
Well, anytime that you speak about the grand jury, you have to have secrecy, because that's the rules. The grand jury is a group that meets in secret. When you get called to testify before the grand jury, you go in and testify before the grand jury, but your lawyer stays outside the room. And the reason is that you're protecting those people who may be investigated, and the grand jury theoretically could never return an indictment. So people shouldn't know that you've been called or been questioned before the grand jury. And that's the reason that it's all in secret.
Then why is Gil Garcetti talking about it?
Well, Gil Garcetti is just talking about the rule of law that says that, that he believes that when he says that when you have a grand jury and you develop information in the grand jury that is specifically can be used for another case, that he believes that information can be used for the other case. But, of course, the defense's position is, hey, this is just a sham. They're saying this is a grand jury about Al Cowlings, but in fact, this is really a grand jury to get more evidence about O.J. Simpson. And that's what this argument's going to be all about.
All right. Now about Judge Ito's decision on DNA evidence. The defense, as you know, has been arguing that under California law, it was entitled to half of the DNA evidence. Judge Ito said that is without legal support. What really happened here today?
Well, what happened today is I think the defense's hope that they were going to be able to run their own test on that DNA just went up in smoke. And the reason for that is that Judge Ito has decided that, in fact, the prosecution has made a good enough showing to him, at least, that they have to run more than the DNA test they've already run. They need other DNA tests. And remember, as we've spoken about earlier, the prosecution bears the burden of proof, and they have to prove Simpson guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And therefore, they have the right to say, Judge, since we bear this burden of proof and since we have to prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, we may have to use all this evidence in order to do it. And what they had to do was make a good faith showing to the judge, and Judge Ito believes that they have.
All right, Roger Cossack, thanks again. Roger Cossack is CNN legal analyst during the O.J. Simpson hearings and the trial that's coming up.
A big rally on Wall Street today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up just over 50 points today. Investors apparently pleased with the gross domestic product report. The government says the economy grew at an annual rate of 3.8% in the second quarter of the year. That's a good sign that inflation will not get any worse, and the Federal Reserve will not raise interest rates anytime soon.
President Clinton has been meeting with his advisors to discuss the Cuban exodus. White House aides say the administration will not talk with Castro's government except to discuss immigration, and the Treasury Department is tightening sanctions on Cuba. New regulations restrict money and gifts Cuban Americans can send to Cuba. Today, storms menace the Florida Straits, forcing rafters to postpone their ventures toward the United States. Just 378 people have been picked up since midnight. The Chrome Detention Center in South Miami, however, now is full. Refugees who make it to the United States now are taken directly to the Port Isabel Center in Brownsville, Texas. In Key West, the Coast Guard has detained a pleasure boat and arrested its captain. Officials say he's suspected of smuggling Cubans into the United States.
The reality of the situation is that whatever the motivation might be, whether it be money, whether it be concern for a loved one, whether it be concern for a fellow Cuban, if you leave the United States, you go out and you pick up Cubans who have no right to enter the United States, and you attempt to bring them into the United States, you are in criminal violation of federal law, and you are subject to prosecution.
The Cuban-American community urges Cubans to stage a general strike, to stay home, and to fight Castro.
President Clinton promises the crime bill will make every neighborhood in the country safer. He finally has a bill to sign. It almost died in the House, and there were attempts to kill it in the Senate, but both houses now have passed the bill. The Senate affirmative came last night. The bill includes a ban on 19 types of semi-automatic assault weapons, 100,000 new police officers over 6 years, money for more prisons and crime prevention programs, and life sentences for 3 convictions of violent crime. 3 strikes and you're outlaw. President Clinton is expected to sign the bill after Labor Day.
Police in New England still are searching for masked gunmen who hijacked an armored car and killed 2 guards yesterday. Today, police found a burned car containing checks, cash, and bank bags that appear linked to that robbery. As many as 4 robbers were waiting for the armored truck yesterday when it pulled up to the NFS Savings Bank in Hudson, New Hampshire, a small town just north of the Massachusetts border. Police say the suspects escaped in what appeared to be a yellow rental truck.
A fired Los Angeles police officer who was acquitted in the Rodney King beating has found new work in a police department near L.A. Timothy Wind has taken a desk job with the Culver City Police Department. A spokesman says he will type information on a computer and help officers with desk work, but will not carry a gun. A teacher suspended from his job for refusing to obey Georgia's moment of silence law is fighting to get his job back. Brian Bound appeared before a federal judge today asking he be returned to his teaching duties. Bound has also filed a federal suit challenging the law, which went into effect July 1st. The Gwinnett County School District contends the new law does not violate Bound's rights.
Just ahead here on our Friday Early Prime, something special in the sky, especially for you non-smokers.
Also, how to pick a hospital, what to look for and look out for.
And later, a close call on the way to Margaritaville as Early Prime continues.
CNN's Early Prime, news and information for people in the prime of life.
Extra sugar-free gum has extra long-lasting flavor, that you know. But extra reduces the risk of cavities, that you may not know. See, after you eat, pH levels in your mouth plummet. That's when plaque acids can cause tooth decay. Chewing neutralizes those nasty acids and brings pH levels back up, helping to keep your teeth stronger. The longer you chew, the better it works. So extra means long-lasting flavor and less risk of cavities.
tonight in the Crossfire. Dialogue and debate at bay. The crime bill is a done deed, but with health care on the horizon, can another compromise crawl forward? Buchanan, Kinsley, Crossfire, tonight, 7:30 Eastern on CNN.
You've reached Acme.
There's a difference between their idea of 24-hour service and ours.
Geico Auto Insurance, this is Patty.
A pulse. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. So, what does happen to all that money you overpay for car insurance? Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hi, I'm Jim Palmer. If you haven't refinanced your home yet, it's not too late. Before rates go any higher, call the money store. You can still save money by refinancing your first mortgage at the money store, even if your credit isn't perfect. You can apply by phone, there's no application fee, and usually get some extra cash. Remember, there's still time to refinance even if your credit isn't perfect. But don't wait. Everyone believes rates are going up. Call the money store at 1-800